Okay. Welcome everybody to the Town of Queensbury Town Board meeting. It's a regular Town Board meeting. The date is November 2nd, 2020. The time is shortly after 7 p.m.
Get the sound off of here.
Before we begin the regular agenda items, would you all please join Councilperson George Perone in saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome. We will have a budget hearing tonight on the proposed 2021 budget, but that will come a little bit later. The first items on the agenda are variances for sewer applications, and they would like us to consider their variances, and we need to go into the local board of health to do that. So if there's a motion to move into the Queensbury local board of health,
I'll move.
bring it forward.
Second.
Moved by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Perone. All those in favor of moving into the Queensbury local board of health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It appears unanimous. We are now in the local board of health. So Karen, would you please introduce the first item we're going to take a look at?
Sure. Is a public hearing on a sewage disposal variance application of Scott Irwin and Sheila Bela?
All right. So Scott Irwin and Sheila Fella they are asking for 3 variances for a residence that's on 30 Sullivan Road, and there's been a change of deed. There was a septic inspection, there's a change of deed, and the septic was found deficient. So they secured engineer Tom Hutchins of Hutchins Engineering to design a new system. He's here to answer any questions and to elaborate, but it's a 2-bedroom place, and they are asking for 3 variances for the replacement wastewater system and a separate tank, and the tank to be located 4 foot from the house instead of the required 10-foot setback, 4 foot from the property line instead of the required 10-foot setback, and 27 feet from the well instead of the required 50-foot setback. So, Tom, if you want to introduce yourself and then elaborate.
Yeah, good evening, board. I'm Tom Hutchins, Hutchins Engineering, Queensbury.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt, but could you take off your mask so I can, when you're talking to the microphone, thank you.
I would like that. Again, Tom Hutchins, Hutchins Engineers, Queensbury, here on behalf of Scott Irwin and Sheila Fayella. There was a change in deed, not an actual complete property transfer, but the change in the deed, which triggered the septic inspection. The system was deemed to be not passable to current standards. It's a single vessel metal tank. It's a very small lot, 7,500 square feet, 0.17 acres. We've been fortunate to make arrangements with an adjoining property owner to install an absorption field in a compliant manner by easement on the adjoining property, and that will solve a portion of their problem. The variances we're requesting have to do with the septic tank itself that will precede that absorption field, and really the only area for this septic tank is where some of us looked at today, and again, it's 4 feet from the building, 4 feet from a property line, and 27 feet from a well, which is located within the basement of the residence. And on that one, I would note that what we're doing is taking away a cesspool that's presently about 25 feet from that well, and having a solid watertight septic tank off to a compliant absorption field. And with that, I think I'd turn it over to the board if there's any questions.
Any questions from the board?
Well, I think, John, you might have mentioned it today, but since it's just 27 feet from the well, Are they going to think about putting some kind of UV system on, for their water supply?
What I've suggested they do is run a bacteriological test and get an idea on the status of the well. And
George,
if,
and I'd be a little bit more concerned if it was the dispersal field, but it's a variance from the tank itself,
Right.
which should be sealed with tar and everything else, and there should not be any leakage from the tank.
correct. But it's a good point brought up to look at that well because there's been a
Yeah, that's a good idea.
substandard system fairly close to it for some time.
So, so are you suggesting we amend it by saying some kind of,
I mean,
water test?
it's for their benefit. I mean, I don't know if we should just leave it to their own recourse to deal with that or make it part of the resolution.
Well, the problem with making a resolution, that we'd have to follow up on that, make sure they had the well tested, which I think we could after the first year. So if you wanted to make it, that they have to submit a water test to the town within a year period. At least there'd be something to show that the water is clean. But again, this is a variance from the septic tank itself, which is pretty much self-contained.
Contained, yeah.
The bed is, what, 100 feet?
100 feet.
Yeah. So the bed meets the criteria, and that's the one I usually get worried about. Well, oh, okay.
So Tom, your biggest concern with the well is the previous
Testing?
Is the impact over prior years. It's not what we're going to do. What we're
Yeah,
gonna-
so I
what we're going to
think-
do is solve the problem.
Yes,
And I've suggested to them that we look at that well, and they're considering that, and I intend to suggest that again.
but it's not related to this variance, I guess.
It's not related to this variance.
As long as they're aware of that.
Okay, yeah, they are.
Okay. So you okay with it, George?
Fine.
All right. If there's no further questions from the board, I want to open this. There is a public hearing on this sewage disposal variance application of Scott Irwin and Sheila Falla. And they live on 30 Sullivan Road, and they are asking for 3 variances from the septic tank. Okay, there any of the public present? If you are watching us through YouTube, please call area code 518-761-8225. All right, I don't think we're generating any interest on this sewage disposal variance application tonight, so I'll close the public hearing. Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion to approve made by
I'll
Councilperson
second.
Menavere, seconded by Councilperson Freer. Roll call vote on this, please, Karen?
Sure, Councilperson Freer,
Yes,
Brown,
Yes.
McGee. Yes. Straub,
Yes.
Medavere.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Tom. All right, next, will you please introduce that to the public?
Sure. It's a public hearing sewage disposal variance application of Roberta Kahn.
All right, for Berta Kahn's application, is for a residence on 61 Knox Road. Roberta Kahan is the name of the owner. Dennis McElroy of Environmental Design Partnership is the one that designed the system. It's for 2 places, 3-bedroom and a 1-bedroom, for a total of 4 bedrooms. And it's going to be an Elgin dispersal field consisting of 24 modules. Can you hear me all right now, Peter? Peter can't hear. I guess it's not working. Okay. All right, so we did a site visit today, and the engineer of the system, Dennis McElroy of Environmental Design Partnership, reacted to his neighbor's concern. There were a line of trees that the neighbor wished to preserve, and the neighbor was concerned that digging up the line and installing the septic tank would disturb some of the roots of the tree. So I said to Dennis, if it's all right with town council, that we appreciate him moving the septic tank a little bit. Basically, the system as he designed it is going to remain the same. He's going to move the tank over 2 or 3 feet. And we said, well, we're comfortable with that, and we think that improves the system. But what I would like to do is open the public hearing and leave the public hearing open and not act on this until we see the final design of the plans, which he assured us he would have before the next meeting for us to review. And then at the next meeting, I will carry on the public hearing, and then if the board's comfortable, we'll vote on it. But we're not going to vote on it tonight. So, so that's going to change the variances if he's going to move the tank a little bit. So, but basically it's the same system. So I'm going to open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public that would like to speak to this at this time? We will be deferring the rest of the public hearing to November 16th. Any thoughts or concerns as of right now on behalf of the town board? I will keep the public hearing open. We just will not act on this application. The town council nodded his head, Mark Shatner, and said that seemed to be okay. All right. So that's it for those two. Would you introduce the third?
Yes. Resolution setting public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Chris Abel, Rockhurst LLC.
Okay. All right, so we're setting the public hearing on November 16th, and this is a situation on 10 Polk Road. I guess there's a piece of property. They're proposing to subdivide it. And there will be a new residence with a future address of 102 Assembly Road. And in this system, which is designed for a house yet to be built, they're asking for 2 variances in the absorption bed. One to be 5 foot from the property line instead of the required 10-foot setback, and 70 foot from Lake George instead of the required 100-foot setback. They are proposing to use a pure flow infiltration system, which is a peat fiber biofilter system. And it wasn't clear as to what dispersal options they're going to be using. And I have some other questions about this one. But we'll deal with those questions and other matters dealing with this at the public hearing if the town board sets the public hearing for Monday, November 16th. Is there a motion to set the public hearing for November 16th for this sewage disposal variance application to Chris Abel of Rockhurst LLC?
Yeah, you pronounce it ably, and I will move.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Councilperson Harrison made the motion, seconded by Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote on this, please.
Councilperson Ferone?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Stroud?
Yes.
Medevere?
Yes.
Freer?
Yes.
All right, so this application will have a public hearing on Monday, November 16th, right here in the Activity Center at shortly after 7 p.m. All right, those are the only items for the public hearing of the, or the Board of Health, I should say. Is there a motion to move out of the Queensbury Local Board of Health?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Councilperson McGee,
Second.
seconded by Councilperson Ferone. All those in favor of moving out of the Queensbury Local Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It appears to be unanimous. We're out of the Board of Health. Next, we have a public hearing. You want to introduce to the public?
Sure, it's a public hearing, the annual town budget for 2021.
Okay. So what I would like to do is give a PowerPoint overview of the proposed 2021 town budget, if this works. Okay. There are handouts for anyone here who wishes to see handouts of the PowerPoint, they are present. So we're talking about the 2021 preliminary hearing budget, and we do have a public hearing on this tonight. All right, budget expenditures, I will talk and give brief summaries and overviews of the townwide general operations, emergency services, lighting districts, wastewater districts, water districts, and or other districts, environmental districts. So if you take a look at the town-wide general operations, you can see the 2021, which is bolded, that's the proposed budget. If you look at general fund appropriations, we are down a little bit from what we proposed to appropriate in 2020. This year's budget of $14,052,358 is less than last year's proposed fund appropriations budget of $14,684,587. Cemetery fund for 2021 is up a little bit. And that is because we've hired a new person. Our cremator is very busy. And we need a person. We've hired them to work on Saturdays and others, so that slight increase a little bit from last year. We're proposing $4,093,950. And last year was at $4,298,200. So about a $204,000 difference. We have tried, every department head, I gotta give the department heads credit. They tried to cut where they could, and they did do some cutting. Revenues are down, so we cut the budget. Solid waste fund is up a little bit for 2021. That has costs that we have very little control over, so that's up about $7,000. So the townwide general operation totals, okay, in 2021, we're proposing $19,432,583, which is down $733,679 from last year, or 3.64%. The amount to be raised by the town tax is a little over $2 million for 2021. The tax rate will not change. It's going to remain 0.521 or 52.1 cents per thousand. Now, the tax rate is down considerably from when I started. The 2015 was 61.3 cents per thousand. So the tax rate has gone down in the last 5 years. However, there is no change from last year. We're keeping the tax rate flat, which, if you know, a lot of municipalities in this given economic climate with COVID and everything are not as in good a financial shape as we are, but we planned it this way. We plan that there will be years that revenues will be down, tough years might be forthcoming, next year might not be pretty. We are trying to plan all that in our planning, budget planning. We want to keep a steady ship. All right, what does your tax dollars pay for? All right, first of all, if you live in a home, and the average home value this year is $274,000. So if you live in a home that's an average home value, you are paying $142.75 in tax, $143. What is that paying for? You are paying for the assessor, the accounting, animal control, building and codes enforcement, building and grounds maintenance, cemetery, community development, including planning, zoning, and enforcement, the fire marshal, your highways, your roads, your highway administration and maintenance, your snow plowing, paving, the information technology of the town, parks and recreation, town clerk, which includes licensing, receiver of taxes, records of maintenance, our town council, town court, town supervisor and board, transfer stations, town engineering, and everything related to this. You are paying $142.75 if you live in the average home value of $274,000. All right. So, all right, well, how does that compare to 5 years ago? All right, 5 years ago, the average home was $256,000, and you were paying $61.3 per thousand. So you were paying $157 in taxes for the average home 5 years ago. I say that because you're paying less for the average home value now than you did 5 years ago, but you're getting as good as or even better services than you were 5 years ago. Do we plan our budget and do we plan this town so we give you the biggest bang for the buck? Yes, we do. Emergency services. All right, fire is down a little bit. So you got 3 million. It's down a little bit over the 3 million some odd for 2020, down 47,000. EMS is down in terms of expenditures or appropriations. But you will notice down below, and you may be kind of confused, that the tax rate for EMS is going up. The primary reason for that is that with the COVID crisis and everything, the revenues for the EMS were down this year. So we have to make it up with a slight increase in EMS district tax. Lighting districts, pretty much the same, only up $100. Wastewater districts, increased costs, bonds. We are giving a slight increase, slightly under $100,000 increase for wastewater districts. And we have 7 of them, and they're listed for you. So they're going up about 4%. Water districts, again, costs going up. We have some of the best water rates in the entire greater region of what you pay for water in the town of Queensbury. Not only is it some of the finest quality, it's also the least expensive. But that's going up a little bit. Our other districts are the environmental districts, are what the district voted on, and it's what they wanted. Glen Lake, the same as it was. Lake Sunnyside, the same as it was. North Queensbury's down. Because of COVID and everything else, they didn't have any expenditures last year, so they have enough money to keep them going. So the grand totals, total appropriations is almost 32 million. The difference is down almost 700,000. We did cut expenditures. Revenues are down. Sales tax revenues are predicted to be down, not as bad as we once thought they would be, but we're thinking that they'll still be down 4 or 5% for the year. But our revenues from the court system are down. Our revenues from park and recreation is down. But the amount that we want to raise from taxes is about $7.5 million. Are we tax cap compliant? Yes. We always try and be tax cap compliant or better. We don't shoot for 2%, and your tax cap, when people say 2%. It's often less than that. I believe the tax cap this year was 1.58. 5.6. That was our tax cap. Some people think it's automatically 2%. No, there's a lot of factors that go into that. So we're tax cap compliant. We want to be tax cap compliant next year. We've always been tax cap compliant. What we do is try and plan a budget for good times and bad times so that it's not flying up and flying down. It's staying steady so that you can predict, because I know for a lot of you out there in the economy, things are not good. Well, we don't want to give you something that's unpredictable. We don't want to give you any great tax rate increases. We want to keep things pretty level, pretty flat, but still provide you all the services you've come to enjoy. So that is the proposed town budget in a nutshell, and we'll have public hearings, so I will shut this down. And go back to the regular Zoom. And offer the public an opportunity to speak to the proposed 2021 budget. I will do so first here. Is there anybody that are present that wish to speak to the 2020 budget? No? All right, anybody on Zoom wish to speak? Let me see if there's any blue hands. Anybody? Nobody on Zoom. Anybody on YouTube watching and you wish to call in, area code 518-761-8225. I just have to tell you that if you do call in, it has to have some kind of identification as to who you are, show up on the phone. All right, so the public hearing is open. For anybody that wishes to speak to our proposed 2021 budget. All right. Not hearing any interest on behalf of the public to speak to our proposed 2021 budget. Are there any thoughts on behalf of the town board that you would like to share with us and the public? Yes, Councilperson Freer?
Yeah, I would just like to commend Steve Lovering. A lot of the reduction in the budget is coming out of Parks and Rec. He's done a really tough job of trying to balance providing as much service in a weird, crazy COVID environment to the citizens and the people in the town. And, you know, he's working very hard at trying to bring those services forward in a crazy time, and realizing that we did have to make some tough choices with regard to reducing our obligations. So we'll keep working it, but Parks and Rec guys, I think, have done an outstanding job, the whole staff, but that's kind of where, you know, a big chunk of that reduction is coming from.
Yes, yes, and you're good. Steve and his whole department do a wonderful job with Park and Rec and the Park and Recreation Commission. They do a wonderful job, and they did shear a lot from their budget this year, but all the department managers all chipped in. They understood the situation. And first of all, I have to say to the public, we don't deal in this town with a lot of fluff and a lot of fat. We're lean going into this. So, you know, when you say we can cut here and snip here, we run pretty lean as it is. I just want to tell you, there's no fluff and no fat. It's pretty lean. And I want to thank all the department managers for everything they did. And I want to thank my budget officer, Barbara Tierney, who's here tonight and works very hard on this budget year-round, as well as decades of training on municipal budgets. So thank you, Barbara. All right, the other thing with the resolution are the elected official salaries. Town supervisor is $67,276, the same as it's been, I think, for a decade. Council persons get $18,000 a year, the same as it's been, I think, for almost a decade or maybe more. Town clerk is $77,448, is up 2.5% over last year. Town highway superintendent is $78,287, up 2.5% over last year. Town justices, $54,437, and that's 2.5% over last year. So as well as the budget is adopting those salaries. Okay, if there's no further comment from the town board or the public, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion to adapt the annual town budget for 2021.
I'll introduce.
Moved by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson McGee. Roll call vote on that, please, Karen.
Sure. Councilperson Stroud?
Yes?
Medevere?
Yes.
Freer?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
McGee? Yes.
All right. Thank you all very much for all the hard work you've done. The town board, I should also add, has analyzed this budget and with many, many questions, which is good. And were responded to, and changes were made, and I want to thank the town board for all their input and due diligence in working on this 2021 budget. All right. Next. Resolutions. We have 14 resolutions before us. I say 14. Have a safe drive back, Barbara. Thank you. We have 14 resolutions before us. I'm going to, one was withdrawn, pulled, 4.3. So I will go through and describe what the resolutions are about, and if the public wishes to have any comments on any of those resolutions, I will give you the opportunity to do so after I describe them. Now, if there is another town topic but does not pertain to the resolutions. I will give you the opportunity to speak to the town board at the end of the meeting following the resolutions, okay? This part of the meeting is just for the resolutions. So Karen, if you'll introduce Resolution 4.1, please.
Sure. Resolution authorizing the Chase Companies to provide additional construction phase services as clerk of the works for highway garage project.
Okay. The garage, because of COVID and everything else, is going to be, originally, we thought that it could be done in October. But we knew that during COVID, it would be more likely November, and it is. It should be pretty much finished up, ready to go in November. That extra time means extra inspections. We did hire a clerk of the works. And they want a little bit more money, and I say a little bit more because they're only asking us for half of what they could have asked us for, which I commend them. So $6,562.50 shall extend their services to the completion of the town highway building, and that's what 4.1 is. 4.2?
Resolution setting public hearing on proposed local law of 2020 amending town code provisions relating to water and sewer services and charge.
All right,
charges.
Chris, yes, thank you. Yeah. Chris Harrington, the manager for our water and wastewater world, would like to make some changes. He would like to eliminate the wastewater department's involvement in constructing sewer laterals, which should become the sole responsibility of the property owner. All right, we're going to have, if the town board approves this resolution, we'll have a public hearing on these proposed changes on November 16th at the town board meeting here at the town, Monday, November 16th, shortly after 7 p.m. 4 changes he's asking for. That was one that I just explained to you. The second is allow the wastewater director to waive the requirement for separate building sewers. There are situations which you have a complex with separate buildings, and not all the buildings require sewer. Well, he would like to be able to make that judgment call, but he'll be here on the 16th to explain these, why he wants these changes in detail, and there will be a public hearing if you have further questions. The third change, he would provide the town board, provide that the town board may make changes to sewer rents by resolution upon 5 days of public notice. There will still be a public hearing on this, but the difference in the code for what he would like to see us entertain is it's not a code change. That the town board doesn't have to change the code and go through that routine. We can change the rates just by offering to do so and giving the public an opportunity to respond to that. And the fourth change is allow water service to be discontinued upon resolution of the town board without a hearing. Those are the 4 changes he's proposing. And like I said, if the town board approves this, the public can ask questions about this on Monday, November 16th. 4.3 was pulled. 4.4, please.
Resolution setting public hearing on South Queensbury Volunteer Fire Company, Inc.'s proposal to use tax-exempt financing for financing of firehouse renovations, construction costs.
All right, finally, we're down to renovating a building. We've been up as high as $5 million for a new building. We asked South Queensbury to work with us a lot more, and they did. So they're going to renovate the building that they're in for $2.5 million, and they want tax-exempt financing, and that this is what this is proposed. But this resolution is proposing a public hearing on the matter. The public hearing would be on December 7th. There has to be a certain amount of time with this, and the 16th wasn't working, so the public hearing will be on this matter December 7th if this resolution passes the town board tonight. 4.5, please.
Resolution authorizing execution of grant agreement Number C, 031105 with New York State and establishment of estimated revenues for grant funds and adaptive signal control technologies, capital project fund number 234.
All right, adaptive is one of those new words, like it or not. You know, you have adaptive speed control, right? And what is adaptive speed control? It looks at the cars in front of you and behind you, it monitors the traffic, and it monitors your speed accordingly. So if you set it at 70 miles per hour, you may be going 68 at times. It won't take you any more than 70, but that's adaptive speed control. All right, this is for adaptive signal control technologies. I've mentioned this before. This is an opportunity. It's a grant that's looking at the feasibility. We passed the first hurdle, which means the authorities took a look at this and thought it deserving. So we got that far, and we're talking about the Quaker Road Aviation Road corridor. That area, that corridor between exit 19 on the Northway and River Street. So that whole corridor, and you know all the traffic lights and everything, people have said to me, why don't you harmonize those traffic lights? And I said, I think they are harmonized already. I get stopped at every one of them. So they must be harmonized. But in any event, we don't have a system that judges what is the demand, what is the queuing, what are the cars entering, how long are those queues, how many cars are going through here and at what time. This would be a mastermind that would read the traffic flow on that corridor I just described. So, and optimize the flow so that it's the fastest and most efficient. So this is, you know, it's accepting $60,000 in grant funding from the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, NYSERDA, for the adaptive signal control technologies. And it's to look at the feasibility and applicability of the ASCT. Okay? If the STEM board approves it. All this paperwork goes with that resolution. That I summarized. That's what it's all about. 4.6, please, Karen.
Resolution authorizing engagement with Stillstein Electric, Inc. for Aviation Road, Powder Road intersection pedestrian crossing and rectangular rapid flashing beacon project.
All right, as you know, we have developed, in coordination with the city of Glens Falls, a new trail that extends the Rush Pond Trail system southward to Peggy Ann Road. That means it has to cross Aviation Road in a particularly bad area, the area of the intersection of Aviation Road, Potter Road, and Fox Farm Road. We, if this gets approved, are going to approve one of the safest pedestrian crossings that we know of, and it is the rectangular rapid flashing beacon system. So that a pedestrian who wishes to cross Aviation Road, primarily, you know, for many reasons, but one of the reasons are this part of Aviation Road joins the southern terminus of the Rush Pond Trail with the northern terminus of the Halfway Brook Trail. So it has flashing beacons. It's not just a crosswalk. It's more, and it's safer. So, we put it out to bid. We got one bid from Stillstein from $28,380. Now that is expensive. We expected the bids to go as high as $35,000. Chazen Engineering did. And so coming at $28,380 is expensive, but it's for public safety. 4.7.
Resolution authorizing purchase of property located in the vicinity of Far Lane and the town's recreation property known as the Rush Pond Park and Trails.
All right, so when we design subdivisions, neighborhoods, your little community, whatever you want to call it, we would like it to be interconnected to the other neighborhoods. So that kids don't have to go out on the main streets or drive out on the main streets just to go visit their neighbor or a friend that lives in the neighborhood next door. So Indian Ridge has two of these. One connected Indian Ridge to the school system, and the other connected Indian Ridge to the Rush Pond Park and Trail system. They are public accesses. You don't have to go out an Aviation Road, then back down another road. You can go from your neighborhood from one to the other. The original developer is not paying the taxes. So the county got a hold of me and they said, are you interested in this? Yes, I am. I want to maintain this public interconnect. And so it is for the amount of $1,055.17. We'll be buying 0.34 acres located in the vicinity of Far Lane and the town's Rush Pond Park and Trails. It is an interconnect, and it will remain, if the town buys it, a public access and interconnect. Some people at Leland wishes we would do the same. We made the mistake in Leland of not providing a public access to the public lands. And so they asked us, well, can you do it now? Well, yeah, if there's a private person willing to give up some of their land to provide public access to the Rush Pond Park, we'll do it. But we don't want to make the same mistakes, and we want to keep those interconnects that we have. And so this resolution proposed buying that parcel. 4.8.
Resolution authorizing engagement of Cartograph Systems LLC for professional software services and establishment of Cartograph Software Capital Project number 234.
All right. We've started the process. We took the western side of Bay Road from Surrey Fields all the way down to about Corona Road. And we took a look at the stormwater facilities and the stormwater management. We had our GIS guy, Cost Control Associates, and John Smith, who knows our stormwater system intimately. He used to work for us, and now he's retired. And inventory the facilities and the function of the facilities and the direction of flow of the facilities. All right, now we need software to put all this together. So this is a resolution to purchase the Cartograph software. $14,800 for implementation of services and $13,475 annually. What we want to do is inventory the system. One of the biggest problems that any of the council persons present can vouch for are people that complain about stormwater systems not working, not functioning. There are many reasons for that. One of the reasons is we're getting more dramatic weather than we've ever gotten before. We've gotten some severe thunderstorms that you would only see every 50 years. They seem to be happening every year now. Is it related to global warming? I think so. In any event, these facilities need to be maintained. They need to be improved. There are thousands of them in the town of Queensbury, literally thousands of them. They are interconnected in some cases. They have flows in some cases. We had one flooding situation here on Bay Road. It's one of the reasons why I picked that part of the town to start inventorying first. Flooding. All right, where's it coming from? We think over here. You think it's over here. Well, it was a private culvert that was causing the problem, but we didn't know where the other culverts were being fed into the system and what they were causing. In other words, all the system have a plan, have a design, have functioning, they're interrelated, but nobody knows. We had to wait for some of the flooding to go down so we could find some of these facilities. If we had them mapped out, we could read where they are exactly and determine where the flow was coming from and help solve the problem. Well, we didn't have that software. This software means that you can be out in the field, take out your phone, and it will give you everything that you need to know about that stormwater system where you're standing immediately. So not only that, but these systems need to be maintained. And like I said, there are thousands of these facilities in the town of Queensbury. What's been maintained, what needs to be maintained, which ones need to be worked on, how do you get those to the guys? How do you tell the guys where the systems are? This software functions in that way. And now, we aren't the only municipality to start going in this direction. You know, we're always making the effort to bring Queensbury forward into the next century. We're doing it with our IT, we're doing it with our stormwater, we're doing it with just about everything we can think of. We're trying to bring the town so that the future is predictable and manageable. This software will help do that. And thank you for asking the question, George. 4.9.
Resolution authorizing an increase in costs related to outsourcing of milling and/or paving work and purchase of related materials.
All right, Dave couldn't make it tonight. But related to our paving that was recently done, we had some additional expenditures that Dave did not foresee for whatever reason, and he had a personal emergency and couldn't make it here tonight. But the complete milling and traffic control to Reifenberg, $53,131.65. Complete paving and traffic control to Peckham, $108,160. And the top 6 course materials, $215,224. So that was what we approved. The additional expenses, Peckham purchased $13,000 additional top 6 course material and Cara. Reifenberg provided additional milling for $3,537.52 for a total of $16,669.04 above the project contingency. So what they're asking for is an increase in the project's contingency in the amount of $13,872 to make these roads perfectly right. Okay? And I wish Dave were here, but he's not. 410.
Resolution authorizing advertisement of bids for sale of obsolete equipment.
Okay. These are going to govdeals.com. Ingersoll Rand compressor, AccuBank bill counter, John Deere mower, Kodak scanner. The Gov Deals to sell surplus, and this resolution is to approve going to Gov Deals to sell them on the open market to interested parties. 411, please.
Resolution authorizing proposals of Dow Electric Incorporated for replacement of clarifier building roof and pole barn roof at Water Department.
Okay. The new roof on the clarifier building will be $349,217.55. That was damaged with that tornado that we had go through the Hudson Valley and hit Hudson Point and Call Street in Luzerne. You may remember this one. Well, our water department got hit too. So we are getting reimbursed. That's the total roof, $350,000, if you don't mind me rounding up. We're getting reimbursed $240,000 of that from the insurance company. So we need a new roof, and the insurance company is going to pay for a large share of it. $240,000 of the $350,000 is going to be paid for by the insurance for a new roof that's much needed anyways for the clarifying building. Then we have a shed that's getting a pole barn, which is a pole barn, shed I call it, and it's getting an asphalt roof replacement, and that is $46,988.76. So these are proposals of Dow Electric Incorporated for replacement of the roofs. And this was done through a New York State agreement that includes Region 8, which is our region. And the Town of Greece agreement provides that Dow may propose for general construction project within Region 8 as described in the agreement Article 8 Cooperative Purchasing Agreement, and so forth. 412.
Resolution authorizing advertisement of bids for purchase of sign with columbarium wall at Pineview Cemetery.
Okay, this is to allow Connie Getter, who is present tonight, she is the cemetery superintendent, to advertise for bids for a purchase of a new sign with a columbarium wall that will have niches to entomb remains at the Pineview Cemetery. And if I understand it, Connie, people will purchase those little sections of this wall, and it will basically pay for the wall ultimately.
Yes.
Yes. So this is allowing her to go out to bid. 414.
Resolution to amend 2020 budget.
Or 413, right? 413 is shifting things in the budget where we didn't need them to where we do need them, happens all the time. 414,
Resolution approving audit of bills warrant of 11/3/2020.
all right. So this is with a run date of October 29, 2020, and a payment date of November 3rd, 2020, totaling $2,330,240.76. And the last resolution before the town board tonight,
Resolution authorizing change order number 2 to contract number 1 for general construction with MLB Construction Services LLC in connection with Highway Garage Capital Project.
all right, this is resolution 415. As you know, we have a new highway garage, and we've done a lot of repaving in the work area to create the garage. We have a new salt barn. We're going to be all set for this winter. Well, the highway superintendent said, well, while we're paving, why don't we pave this section? This section being between the fuel station and the old building. All right, he didn't have that in the original plan, so they gave him a cost that was a reduced cost for what that was of $67,303. Which may put us over the contingency amount by $12,565.89. I say that because otherwise, we look like we're going to stay below the budgeted amount for the highway garage. This repaving of this section, which I said wasn't part of the original deal, but this is what the highway superintendent would like, everything to be repaved and brand new back there. And it's going to cost $67,000, which will nudge us a little bit above our total amount that we allotted for the garage. But all the numbers haven't come in. But I talked to Nick from CT Mal, and he says it looks like we're going to come in under the original amount prospective. So this is just in case, though. This is just to cover us. If you're in agreement with the highway superintendent, go ahead and let them repave the whole thing back there, that it may go $12,000 or $13,000 over what was originally proposed. Those are the 14 amendments before us tonight. Okay, so I will give the public an opportunity to speak to any of those proposed resolutions before the town board tonight. Anybody present? Anybody on Zoom? Anybody watching us YouTube would like to call in, area code 518-761-8225. On any of the 14 resolutions before the town board tonight. All right, town board, any thoughts on you would like to share or concerns? Any resolutions you would like to have pulled for individual votes?
I don't need it pulled, but I just want to make a couple comments about 4.5 to add to what you were saying, John. I spoke with Stu Baker today about this project, and you know, I travel that area a lot and work too, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. One of the things that I think will benefit is as we modernize some of those lights with this knowledge, it hopefully won't make people speed through there. It'll make them flow in a civilized manner through there, but not feel like that they're getting stopped unnecessarily, because I think it's really a good idea. It's going to be a 9-month study. He's putting out the RFP shortly, and then we'll be able to take it to the next level. So
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Glad Stu and the team and you champion for that grant, because that will make a lot of our Queensbury residents and citizens happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just wanted to give you for example. We have one of the busiest intersections in the capital region, and that is Route 9, Quaker Aviation. Well, part of this corridor that we'd like to do an adaptive signals technology study on. Over 40,000 cars a day will go through there on a busy day. 40,000. If you don't believe me, you can count them.
I think we all drive down that road and can attest to the fact that it's a busy road. I mean, if you hit every light, it could take you over 30 minutes to get from the west side of the town over to the east side of the town, so.
And George, I remember the old days. I used to go down and see my friends in Hudson Falls. It took like 10 minutes.
Right.
Maybe it'll go back to 10 minutes with this adaptive signal.
I agree with Councilperson Freer. I'm looking forward to that as well. It can be frustrating when you're going across there on a regular basis. I think the other things that are great is the cartograph system, talking about stormwater. I think that's one of the things we get calls on most often, so it's good that if we could track those things and put them on a regular maintenance basis, it's going to help us in the long run.
But not only that, George, but out in the field, you're on a site visit, visiting a residence who's called with a concern. So you can bring it up in your phone, and you can identify that as needing attention, so that everybody in the highway department knows that you've just said this water facility needs attention, the stormwater facility. So I think, it's...
I think we've all been called on like that, and, you walk around looking at the stormwater drains, and you're trying to figure out what direction these waters are going, and then you reach a point where, gee, I have no idea where it goes from here, so...
Yeah.
It'll be nice to know.
Yeah. So we need to go there. Let's do it. Any other thoughts on any of the other resolutions?
I just want to recognize Dave Duell, because in spite of not being able to attend, he did write to George and me and answered some questions for us. So I want people to know that he did try to respond and represent a little bit.
I did plan on being here tonight. And then,
Yeah.
I saw the email. All right, thanks for bringing that up. Okay, well then is there a resolution to approve resolutions for 1, for 2, for 4, for 5, for 6, for 7, for 8, for 9, for 10, for 11, for 12, for 13, 14, and 15. I left out 4, 3 because that got pulled, but all the rest of it.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilperson Perone, seconded by Councilperson McGee. Roll call vote on those resolutions, please, Karen?
Sure. Councilperson Medavir?
Yes.
Freer?
Yes?
Barone?
Yes.
McGee?
Yes.
Strapp?
Yeah. Any correspondence, Karen?
No.
Okay. Privilege of the floor. This is an opportunity for anybody to bring up the town related topic or concern before the town board. So is there anybody present tonight? No. Anybody through Zoom? No. If you're watching this through YouTube and you have a town issue you would like to talk about, please call area code 518-761-8225. Now, the people taking minutes ask that I not talk about things while I'm waiting for the public.
Thank you for your restraint.
Because they have to document everything, and I'm here and I'm there, just like I am now. All right, hearing no interest from the public, at least tonight, to talk about a town topic, we'll move on to town board discussions. Amanda, do you have anything you'd like to discuss?
I think just a peek behind the curtain kind of thing. One of the site visits we went on today, I think was a great example of, the process of the town board evaluating something, a neighbor voicing a concern, a consultant addressing that concern, and then the board, rescheduling so that it can follow the process. But I've received calls from people who don't know how things work, and I would encourage everyone to feel like they can do those things. This particular person said he wanted to be a good neighbor, and I thought it was a beautiful example of a town process working.
And you're right, the neighbor was very nice about it. That's not always the case. You can get just as much done by being nice. I got that out of our site visit today, too.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Amanda. George?
I just wanted to go back to talk about the budget a little bit. There is a lot of work that goes into this. We heard a lot of people speak about that. I think this process starts in August, so it's a good 3 months or more of time that goes in and effort that goes into this. In the past, we've heard some complaints about the amount of fund balance the town carries, but we had a good conversation today, over an hour, talking about the budget, and we talked about something that I referred to as cash on hand. You have to have monies on hand to pay for bills. An example of tonight is, tomorrow we'll pay bills in an amount of $2,330,000. If you don't have the cash to pay that bill, that's a problem. And there are no guarantees as to when our sales tax revenues come in. So we have to have enough cash to pay our bills.
Yeah, that was a great conversation I thought we had with Budget Officer Barbara Tierney.
Right.
And the other thing, too, you wanted me to bring up, and I forgot, but we get audited by our own auditors. And they go through everything with a fine-tooth comb every year. They may make suggestions about some changes, but usually it's nothing dramatic. Never has been dramatic. So we must be doing a good job. And then the state comptroller analyzes your fiscal and environmental risks. We come out quite well. And then we have people like Moody's who look at our budget and the way we do things. Moody's says we're doing everything right, given the fact that our weakness is a dependency on sales tax. We need to have fund balances that are appropriate enough to get us through times when that sales tax revenue is not there, and to kind of level things out. And I tried to say we keep the ship on an even keel, but so I forgot about it. I mentioned it now.
Very good. That's all I have.
All right, George, thank you. Harrison?
So John, the EMS study, can you give us kind of a quick status report on that?
Yes, we had a meeting where we talked about the study, and the 3 squads were all present. And there are some things in the study the 3 squads are going to work together on, and they're going to come up with some offerings to us, and they're going to talk to us, and we're going to share this with the public too eventually. Good things that are going to make our EMS system even better than it is now. The first thing I got to say is what's said in the study. We have a pretty good EMS operating system in the town now. Can we make it better? Yes. And the 3 EMS squads are willing to work together to work and make it better. So that's what came out of that recent study. So the next thing is Paul Bishop, who is headed up the study, is going to make a public presentation of the study's findings maybe sometime this month or the beginning of December, soon.
Okay. And then, well, related, the siren complaint, anything new on that?
Well, I did talk to Chasen to see if they had somebody aboard that could help us out. They said that they have somebody that's familiar with the system, and would I like that person to come to the a town workshop and talk to us? And I said yes. I haven't scheduled that event yet, but if I can schedule it we have a workshop Monday night, and I'm still putting the agenda together, so maybe I can get this person in. The person did mention that a lot of fire departments around the state are saying goodbye to the sirens.
Yeah.
They're keeping them for like big emergencies,
Right.
but they're doing away with the sirens.
I know that Central has the lead on this, but there is, I have a constituent in Ward 2 who's also challenging the use of sirens, especially at night, which I just want to keep track of.
Yeah,
what's
well,
going
they also mentioned
Know which
that there
fire?
are other sirens available. So they're going to talk about that and everything else and try
Okay,
and,
great,
okay?
thank you, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Harrison. Tony?
So, speaking of EMS, I have to actually publicly thank West Glens Falls Fire and West Glens Falls, no, excuse me, sorry, Bay Ridge Fire and Bay Ridge EMS, who called to my house last week for me at about 11:30 at night. Most professional, unbelievably kind, caring, considerate people. They were at the house within 5 minutes tops. Took great care of me, got my first ambulance ride, so don't be jealous. I got to ride in the back. And everything's fine, but I've never been in an ambulance before. I've never needed care like that before. And I just can't say enough wonderful things about them. They were great. My only concern was with the amount of people that were at my house at 11:30 at night, I did not have enough tequila to go around. I was worried about that. So, but they were great, so thank you all very much. Sunnyside, I don't know what happened there, but our paving guys just kind of disappeared. They haven't been back in quite some time. Project's not done yet.
Wait for the warmer weather is my guess.
I guess so.
They have specific nighttime temperatures that I think they'll last for the week and a half, so maybe they'll be working Saturday. It's supposed to be
Yeah.
nice, but.
I did notice they put lights out, so I have a feeling that they're running late getting this project done, and that they'll be working well into the evenings.
Yeah, my guess is it's all about temperature at this point.
Okay. And I was delighted to see that we're going to get the rest of Ridge Road paved next year. The governor gave us,
Moon Hill Road in that area?
what's that?
I didn't.
Ridge Road,
Ridge Road.
Yes.
the remainder of
Yeah,
Ridge.
yes.
So,
Next year,
yeah,
hopefully we'll have the work done that we need to do.
Yeah.
water work.
Yeah, but that's good. I'm glad that the governor's
Yeah, we
finally
need to,
acknowledged.
we're gonna try a betterment project and replace the water line and everything else, and they insisted if you're gonna replace it, you have to put it off the side of the road,
Right.
which means we'd have to get easements. And a large part of Bridge Road are those beautiful stone walls. So what we're gonna do is line the system that we have now, and that should last for decades. And we've had a lot of breaks there. We tried to tell the state we could work on this together, but they said no. So we're gonna line it, they're gonna pave it when we get done working, and that should all be done next year.
Excellent. That's it for me.
All right.
Oh, and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Tony. I don't have a whole lot, but what I do have is, one thing too is, you know, we have the halfway, thank you, Connie, get her.
Right.
We are making up signs for the Halfway Brook Trail. And that, it's all part of that lower watershed, and we put together a lower watershed recreation management plan. And, you know, the city is pretty insistent that motorized vehicles, unauthorized motorized vehicles, should not be allowed in the lower watershed. So I thought I'd start the public outreach and education process now. It took a couple of years with the Rush Pond Park area and the Rush Pond trails to ask the ATVs and the dirt bikes, you know, to find another place for those kind of vehicles. That's going to be true of the lower watershed, so I thought I'd mention that, just give you a heads up. Some folks on Klein Avenue, C-L-I-N-E, were happy with the highway department and wanted to thank them for the 2 catch basins and 60 feet of new culvert pipe replacing the old ones. There we go. Stormwater issues that are one of the predominant issues in the town, and they're thanking the highway department. But we have hundreds of them, folks, hundreds of them. It's tough to keep up with them. All right, HEAP and HEAP benefits. They have changed. They're more, check your eligibility. They have changed that. So if you think you might be eligible for heating assistance, please go type in HEAP, New York State, and they have all kinds of new programs, and they want you keep the heat on with HEAP. Go to mybenefits.newyork.gov, and if you just type in HEAP in Google, you probably get it. New guidelines, easier guidelines, and Department of Social Services wanted me to relay that to you. Our EV stations are up and working. We are getting new microphones. We have the speed radar monitors. They will be up and activated as of tomorrow. They've already been up and activated. They were trying to monitor traffic before the public realized they were working to see if traffic is going to be any slower going forward. We know how many vehicles, we know what speed each vehicle is going, and we've been monitoring that already. People have said, like Harrison, they're not on yet. That's perfect. They were on. They're just not observable. All right, and talking about new trails like the Halfway Brook, not Halfway Creek, it's now official, it's Halfway Brook, by the way. The Halfway Brook Trail, I'm seeing plenty of people use it. We haven't officially cut the ribbon and so forth on it. We got some signage and we got some parking lot railings that are going in. The gates went in today. I have to do an inspection on it daily. Sometimes I don't get to it at night, so I have to go a mile and a half with a flashlight. That's eerie. You hear all kinds of sounds you never realized were there, and you're not sure what they are. And I'm a grown man and all that, but, you know. Anyhow, we have the Queensbury Park and Recreation, they do maintain our trails. And, you know, our mountain bike trails, people are talking about, not only, you know, the lower watershed, but the Rush Pond and the Gurney Lane. We are becoming a bicycle destination. We're going to interconnect the system. And people are saying and calling the town, thanking us for these recreational opportunities. You know, with COVID and everything else, I've never seen the parking lot so filled. It's wonderful, and I'm glad you're enjoying them. That I can write for another day. That another day, that another day. That I did. Well, the other thing, I got a couple more things. The other thing, you know, I'm telling you, this town board, we go through and work hard and make the extra effort to make sure that this town is in the best possible shape it can be. And that we are prepared for the future. We are in the future. As you know, our IT system, we're in, you know, we've gone out to the cloud, so to speak, which is actually we've gone on to multiple servers in various parts of the world. And we have a pretty firm system protecting all that information. So we wanted to make sure. So we paid Great Castle to try and do some penetration testing in our system. The purpose of the test was to identify vulnerabilities and determine the likelihood that corporate network assets could be compromised by simulating attacks and motives of cyber criminals. During this test, systems assets were targeted using methods most likely to be used by today's cyber criminals. Our strengths were very strong. Are there some things that we can tweak? Yes, there are some things that we need to prepare, but that's why we do this. We're always looking to improve. We have something that I would put against any municipality in the capital region. Our IT system, and I want to thank Stored Tech for that. And where we are archiving our information, our files, our protection, under their guidance, you know, we work very hard to have a town that is functional and works for you in many ways. That's just another example, and that's it for me tonight. Anything else for the good of the order? Well, thanks to the town board, and thank you, Deputy Town Clerk Karen O'Brien, and thank you, Town Council Mark Shackner. Thank the member of the public that is here every week. And Joel Barlow, thank you, and Jesse Jackson and Look TV, and Peter Pape, thank you, and Pape Productions, and thank you, public, for all your support. We try not to let you down. We work for you, and we work very hard doing so, and I think you appreciate it, and we appreciate your appreciation. All right, is there a motion to adjourn? All right, moved by Councilperson McGee, seconded by Councilperson Freer. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now adjourned.